You're listening to the Multifamily Journey Podcast. In this show, you'll hear industry experts share tips of success and failure from their real estate investing journeys. You'll get a transparent look behind the curtain while you learn to fulfill the lifestyle you want to live and achieve your wealth goals. Get ready for the journey to financial freedom through investing in multifamily real estate. Here's your host, Blake Dailey.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Multifamily Journey Podcast. Today is a really good topic with a really good guest. So today we got on Alex Felice, aka Alex, aka A-Dog, aka A-Train. I don't think he actually goes by any of those, but maybe we can get him to if we post that out on social media when the show airs. But Alex is a guy that has a lot of experience. He's somebody I've learned from building my own website and a lot of stuff with content and how he goes about it. And just being very true and being very real and open and transparent. He's bird a lot of houses. He flipped a lot of houses. He's got multifamily. He's done a lot of things in real estate. And on this episode, what we dig into is sharing the story of his first multifamily deal, how he raised it, how he structured it, and how that opened the door for his second one and down the road just to get the ball rolling in large commercial multifamily. Why raising money doesn't mean you have to be a spammy marketer, right? With syndications, it doesn't mean you have to grab people by the heels and drag them into your deals and be one of those people all over the place. And just how to raise money building relationships. That was really good. And then the 4 things you needed to have for every multifamily deal. So stick around for that. A lot of good content with Alex today. Before we get into the show, be sure to check out multifamilyjourney.com/podcast, where you can ask your questions that you want aired on the podcast. I'll ask those to the guest. So really like involving others and getting their questions answered. I actually got some of my best questions from input from others. So super open to that. So jump on there. And that's about it. So let's get in the show with Alex Felice. All right, Alex, welcome to the show, man. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Well, why don't we just start out by giving the listeners a little taste of who you are and your background.
I'm a real estate investor. Been doing it a few years. Bought my first multifamily last year. Started with single families. I did some flips this year. I used to work in banking, most recently in commercial risk analysis and underwriting. So I know the loan side pretty well. And I wanted financial freedom. Bought some houses, found out that buying houses is super easy. Multifamily is a little bit more fun of a challenge. And so I'm going through, like I said, I did the first one last year. It was a JV, 24 unit. Stressful for me, but not that big a deal. And this year I'm in the middle. I'm at the tail end of a close for a 52 unit syndication.
Love it. So second one, you're doubling up, doubling down. I like that.
Yep. The biggest problem with both of them is they're too small.
Yeah. At that size, you don't have. Does this one have like a leasing office on site?
It does, but we're not gonna keep it. We're gonna property manage it. We're not gonna run it on-site management.
Gotcha. Yeah, interesting. And what he's talking about there is usually multifamily properties it varies. High 50s to like 70 units and under don't normally have a leasing office on site and aren't big enough to have on-site property management and maintenance. So getting a little bit bigger size, you get a little bit more efficiency. So that's what he's talking about there. But that's awesome, man. It's a good background. I like what you're saying that real estate is easy. Like buying houses is not hard. I kind of ran into the same thing. Like it got to just be the same over and over again, right? And it's not that hard once you get the systems, but multifamily is a little bit different beast. So that's good stuff. And one thing I didn't hear you mention in there is your blog as well. Website is Broke as a Choice. And that's,
if you want me to sum up, there's no possible way I can sum up my entire personality in 2 minutes. But the gist for real estate investing is what I said. I'm a prolific content producer. I write my blog, Broke as a Choice, where I list all my deals in excessive transparency. I'm an avid reader. I just started a photography, videography company. Lots of stuff. Yeah. Gym rat.
I actually used your website as a template to make mine. like all the way to the Zoom call meeting on the contact page rather than just having like an email or a form or whatever. Like, let's just jump on a call and get to know each other a little bit. So I really like that part.
I was doing that for 3.5 years. I just quit. I just stopped doing it because I was doing video chats on Thursday nights with strangers, just like, you want to talk to me about real estate, show up. And it started to get busy, popular. I think it really started to take off when I started doing this. I did a web series for Bigger Pockets, a YouTube series. And then it started getting popular. So I was booked like 3 or 4 months out, and then people started ghosting me. So if you ghosted me, fuck you. Can I swear on here? Fuck you. Unacceptable.
Go for that. That's you, man. Yeah. Don't hold back.
Yeah. So that's unacceptable. So I stopped doing that. I think I'm going to switch it to a monthly group Zoom chat kind of thing.
Yeah.
But right now, people were not taking, my time is mega busy right now. And then people were abusing it. So fuck them.
Yep. Yeah, I'm getting to be the same way. Not quite. I haven't been on Bigger Pockets yet, so I haven't had that big influx. So right now, like, it's still manageable. But yeah, got that from you, and it's been super valuable so far, just with the relationships. And yeah, learned a lot just by modeling what you did. So and I don't know if you remember this, but we actually jumped on one of those Thursday night meetings, and I was talking about this podcast before it was ever a thing. I was like, man, I just want to make it transparent and real and not just be like every other podcast. And you were like, man, just call it like talking about real estate or something. So
yeah, this is such a weird thing in our little, I don't want, like, our little genre, people, the internet, people go, Alex, you're so authentic. And I hate when people say that. Not because I consider myself very authentic. I find it offensive that everybody else is apparently being fake. That I somehow stand out just for saying what I think and just doing what I think is right and just being I'm somewhat unapologetic about it. I'm definitely brash and that stands out to people, but yeah, I just don't think it's that difficult for you to have a podcast that is exciting and dynamic and personable. It's like, just be you, bro. Just be you. Stop. People spend too much time trying to do 2 things for podcasts. I know this is not a podcast show. I'm gonna give you some podcast advice. I've done 3 of my own podcasts, and now I'm the co-host of the From Military to Millionaire podcast, which is done very well. One, they try too hard to appease everybody, and they don't want to ask difficult questions. And so, like, usually the first or second thing I do with my guests is really make them like really difficult questions, and they're like, "Ooh, that was hard," but also thank you because that's something I didn't think about, and it makes it uncomfortable, which is not like super fun for everybody as a guest. But it leads me into the second thing that people do wrong, which is, everybody's on this fake fawning, like, oh, Alex, he's this amazing killer real estate investor. And it's like, everybody you have on is going to be whatever. They're going to be who they are. Sometimes they're amazing. Sometimes they're terrible and they just have a good display. And most of the time, they're just figuring it out as they go. And so this fake fawning thing gets, how many times can you be utterly impressed by this?
Yeah, and I see that all the time too. And like, that was like the discussion that we had. It's like, how do you dig through like all the bull crap, right? And just get down to like the real stuff. So we, like, on this show at the end, ask everybody I have on, like, what's the biggest mistake you've made? If it doesn't come out just in the conversation.
I make mistakes so big all the time. I could not possibly tell you which one's the biggest.
All right, we'll get into it, but yeah, that's good stuff. I just wanted to bring that out here at the beginning. So that was good direction early on. So I appreciated that. But so I know last year in 2019, early on, you made the pivot from like focusing on single family to multifamily and did your first deal. So why'd you decide to switch to multifamily in the first place?
Okay, multifamily. There's a lot of reasons. Multifamily is, on paper, it is more efficient financially. It's a better way to invest, straight up. So if you have the capital and the means, like, that's the way to go. I think most people would agree, right? It's more difficult, but like, efficiency of capital, multifamily is better, and it's scalable. Second, I was getting bored of single family. Like, I did 8. By the 8th one, I was like, this is just boring. I just don't care about the money as much as I care about going through my life and growing and enjoying it. And it's, I could go off and get 20 single family homes and then what do you do with your time? So I wanted the challenge. So I said, okay, it's more efficient. It's a better challenge. I'm kind of ready. And then lastly, most importantly, In 2008, we had the global financial collapse. In 2012 is when the glut of the foreclosures came on the market. And that's when the housing boom really started, the one that everybody's excited about now. It started in 2012. Then in 2000, it grew and grew and grew. And in 2017, the last of the foreclosures came off the market, off the bank balance sheets. But what happened was the Federal Reserve lowered the interest rates. They kept the interest rates too low, too long, and then signaled that they weren't going to go any lower, any higher. And so then debt became unbelievably cheap. And liquidity, because market confidence is at a high, liquidity is super high. So people who don't know anything about investing can figure it out in 2 weeks and buy a house. And they're driving prices up bananas. And they're investors. And so I was like, I'm competing with stupid. I'm competing with stupid buyers, and I refuse to let them win. I do not want, I refuse to win the battle between the stupid investor. So it's like, hey, that guy bid that property up too much. It's like, well, you lose then. Like, I don't want to win. I don't want to win that bid. So I said, if I don't want to keep competing against people who are willing to overpay for prices, overpay for properties, then I need to move on. So there's certainly still competitive competition and challenge in the multifamily space, but it is less volume of challengers, and you have to be more sophisticated. So so for me, it was like
barrier to entry is a little higher, which kind of limits a lot of people right off the bat.
The barrier to entry is the same, actually.
Explain that. What you mean?
You need talent. You don't need money. You don't need anything. You need the same thing you need to get a single family house. You need knowledge. You need resources in terms of human capital, partners, and you need money, but it doesn't have to come from you. So I bought my first multifamily with less money than I bought my first single family. Boom.
I like that. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, right? Usually there's bigger purchase prices, which I think scares a lot of people off that might be interested in it. But what you just said there is so important, because you don't have to have it all yourself. That's where you partner out for your weaknesses. And if you're just starting out, that's probably going to be the money side of it. So find the money, like find the people. If you have the knowledge and the skill to put the deal together, the money will come.
It's more than just money, because the deals are more complicated. So you in a single family house, like I kind of explain it like this. On a single family house, you need like 10 people to buy it. Say you're doing a burp, right? You need a buyer, a seller, 2 brokers, insurance, title, maybe legal if you're buying an LLC, appraiser, underwriter for the lender, the broker. Well, you know what I mean? Like 10, 15 people have to get together to put this deal together. With a multifamily, it's more. So you have to be able to manage more personalities, more operations, and then you need a partner. You can't it's just so unbelievably hard to do it. I don't think anybody can do it themselves. So I had to have my partner do underwriting. He dealt with insurance. He dealt with legal. Like, he did all the ops side. I found the deal. I found the asset management. I found the money. On this 52 unit, I got a third partner. From here on going forward, I'll make sure I have 4. So again, if you look at it just like, you're going to need more money and you're going to need the deal's more complicated, sure. But if you think about it in terms of how do I manage human capital? Do I have the knowledge and the understanding of the intricacies and how the mechanics of the deal works? Those 2 things. And then the third is being able to get money. Those 3 things, and really there are only 2. It's education and networking. They scale infinitely. So if you work on those 2 things every day, deal size starts to become less and less relevant.
Yeah, that is so good, man. I'm glad we're getting into this, because I think it dispels a lot of the myths that people have. Or if they're acting in multifamily right now, they kind of limit themselves. I got to go after smaller deals. But if you have that expertise in how to knock down deals and manage your resources and manage people, you can put it all together. So that's really good.
A lot of it is, let me add to that. A lot of it is people don't want to take other people's money. That's what it really comes down to, I think. People go, I was this way. I was like, I did my first 8 deals all by myself because I didn't want to borrow somebody else's money, because I was afraid to be beholden to them. And then, God, what if I lose their money? That was a terrible thing for me to feel. And so, what changed was I got really good at making money. And when I got good at making money, my confidence went up. I said, I can do this for other people. And so people who are unwilling to take on partners because they're afraid they can't make their partners money, that's a problem. And the second is people who are unwilling to partner 100% limit their growth in this world for sure.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think that's anything in real estate, because eventually you're going to hit the limits of your own time and you have to find a way to outsource and partner to keep growing. I mean, if you want to do more than one deal at a time, that's for sure. Because earlier this year I was doing 3 and about like ran myself into an early grave doing 3 burrs all at the same time. So yeah, definitely find the people. I can tell you from experience.
And you didn't do it alone. You had a contractor, right? You had a lender on your side that was helping you out. Like, it's the same as having a partner. Like, my partner does underwriting. He loves it. He does not want to talk to other human beings, right? And it's like, just find people that kind of work that want the same thing as you and work in the complementary strengths and weaknesses of you. Like, people that think going out and getting partners means just splitting money. It's like, dude, they're going to split the workload. They're going to split the responsibility. If you do big enough deals, there's plenty enough money to go around.
Yeah, that's really true. And that's a good pivot point too. So if somebody's first getting into this, what are those early steps that they need to be doing, whether it's identifying the right partners, or like for you, what were your first steps in getting into multifamily?
The first step was doing that video chat. And then somebody came on my video chat one day and said, I want to buy houses with you. Teach me how to do it. Taught him. And then a year later, he brought me a 24 unit and said, I think we can buy this. I have no idea how. I didn't know how. He said, I have no idea how. I said, I don't either, but let's try it. We'll put an offer in. They accepted. And then we figured it out. Okay, that sounds like I was winging it, but the reality is you're prepping every day. So every time you go out and network, if you're networking with guys who do single family, you're going to get good at single family. If you go out and network with guys who do multifamily, you're going to get better at multifamily. Slowly. Learn underwriting. The big things you need to know about the multifamily, somebody has to do underwriting. You have to know how to find deals. You have to know how to pay for it. And you have to know how to manage the asset. I learned this from my friend, Matt Fairclough. I'll give him a shout out. That's how he structures his deals. That's how I think about my deals. Those are the 4 jobs. You need a combination of them. Probably. I did underwriting for a bank. I understand it. I do not want to do it for my own properties. My partner does it. I got another partner who helps me with some of the other things. So you have to understand these deals, which means being around them. You have to be able to, and then you have to find out which of those 4 things you're good at. Acquisition, underwriting, capital raise, asset management. Find out which one of those 4 things you're good at and then lean on it. And then play the long game. Play the super long game. You know, it's not like people go, oh, how many, I gotta get 6,000 units. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna do one multifamily property a year. That's my new strategy. I'm gonna do 1 a year for the next 8 years or so, 6 years. And then the rest of the time, I'm going to do whatever I feel like.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. And when you have the bigger deals, there's more cash flow and allows you to do, 1 deal a year and still reach your financial goals, which is really cool. So yeah.
It's also incredibly stressful. Like I'm at the end of this close and, I'm not sleeping and my stomach hurts, I get back pain. Yeah, it's stressful. So I'm like, ooh, 3 months out of the year, I can stress. The rest of it, I can chill. That's cool. That's a good mix for me.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, 9 months of relaxing and operating. There you go. Awesome. So let's get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of this first deal, because I think, as you were saying, you not spur of the moment, but got into it, learned along the way. And I think that's what a lot of people need to do is just make the leap. So thinking about this deal, how did you find it? You said somebody brought it to you?
Yeah, somebody brought it to me. It was on market with a broker. I probably overpaid a little bit. I made a ton of mistakes. I could barely raise the money. I went in undercapitalized. The deal was too small. I made every mistake.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, that's good though, because I want to get into that stuff because I want people to hear it, because I think when you talk about the mistakes, you can either go make them yourself on the next deal you do, or you can listen to stuff like this and learn yourself.
Yeah, you can. You know what though? I'm gonna tell you something. My hero Nassim Taleb. Beware of wisdom you didn't earn. You can sit here, and I believe this, and so you can sit here and tell me like, oh, Alex, you should have partnered with somebody better than you and just had them do it. It's like, that's not how you learn, bro. How do you know that the fire is hot? It's not because dad told you it's hot, because he touched it and you found out. What I learned on my own, I still remember. So I am okay with going in and fumbling through a deal. I still pay my investors a return. I knew that at the time, it was like this. I could sit around and wait for a better deal. Who knows? right? Who knows when that was going to happen? So for me, I say go in, do the best you can, be okay with making mistakes. And then if you see my blog, I wrote like what? There's a part 1 and a part 2. There's probably 7,000 words, and all of them are like, here's what I screwed up.
Yeah.
Own it. And then you get so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. You sometimes you just gotta sit your ass in the fire and and feel the heat. That's what my weightlifting coach always would say: sit in the fire. Get down there and feel it. So, what was breaking this deal down a little bit? How did you structure and finance it your first go around?
JV, joint venture. Me and 4 people that I barely knew got together and put together basically equal shares. We'll call it 20% each. It wasn't 20% each. I am the biggest stakeholder because I wanted to have the most money in it, because I wanted to have the most skin in the game. So, but we'll call it even. 20% each. We put up, I think, 280. The purchase price we negotiated down to $1 million. It appraised at 1.25 or 1.3, which is okay. It's nice. That was a little win. The bank financed 75%, so they financed $750,000. We put $250 plus 30,000, 40,000 in closing costs. It was hard to raise the money because I had really never done it before. I went to my people I knew and just said, "You want to give me money?" Most of them said, "Fuck no." A couple of them said yes, and then when it came time to write a check, they would not. Beware of that. You need to raise. I'm dead serious about this. I've made this mistake twice now because I made it on the 52. You need to raise double what you think you need. I need $1 million. You better go get commitments on 2 million, because half those people who promise and swear up and down and look you in the eye and say, "Alex, I got you," they do not got you. They will bail. When it comes time to really need them, half of them will bail. I'm not salty about it in any capacity, because you need to find the right people. I don't want the wrong people in my deals. But as a new investor, for my investor friends who are listening, get double what you need.
Yeah.
Second,
that's good.
We did not have enough money for the repairs that we should have done. So I was like, you know what? The place is stable. We'll just own it. Get used to it. It'll be a reasonable return. It's a low risk deal. It wasn't really a value add. So the idea was just like buy it, set it, and forget it. Get used to the idea of owning this thing. Turns out that's a mistake. I should have had, there wasn't so much to do, but I should have had a bunch of cash that I could mass evict. That's what I would have done. I would have mass evicted and then paid out of the extra cash to my investors to hold us over. Instead, I basically had to, I only had cash flow. And then when I had bad tenants, I really couldn't evict them. So I had to grind along for the first 18 months. And then it got really good over the summer. And then this, we're about to get rid of our last leftover tenants. And I think this thing's gonna be very good now. But I cost myself about 18 months by not having additional capital up front, which is a stupid rookie mistake that I should have known better, because for those who don't know, the overwhelming number one cause of business failure is undercapitalization. So not only do you have to get more pledges for money than you need to actually raise more money than you think you need. So if my rehab budget is 150 grand, get 200. My rehab budget is $500,000, get 650. Whatever the number is, get 600, like get more than you think you need. You can give the money back to investors, but if you don't have enough, then you have to go to investors after you close and ask for more.
Yeah, which you do not want to do. You don't want to be that operator that has to do a capital call up front. So that's good stuff. There's a lot of good lessons just in that first one. First and foremost, it sounds like have the money, raise more than you think you need, and then even before that, get more commitments than you think you need, because some people are going to fall out and not convert when it comes time to write the check. Have you done anything to get around that, whether it's like a LOI up front or a questionnaire or something to get like buying commitment before it comes time for the actual wiring the funds?
No. And that's one thing that after this one closes, we're going to really, it's just not something I ever worked on. Even the second deal, it kind of like, I wasn't geared up for it. I was doing some other stuff. I was doing a video project for Bigger Pockets called Meet the Investors. Everybody go watch it. And I did that thing.
I did watch it. It's good stuff, by the way. If you haven't watched that, go check it out. It's good content.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this year was the first year I did video, and I made that. And so anyways, I was out hanging out with, again, my buddy Matt Faircloth, doing a video for his. I helped him raise. He did a 336 unit in Winston-Salem. It was a $26 million project. I think they raised 11 or 6 million or something like that. I did a video for him, and while I was there, One of his brokers got me an off-market deal, so I found this 52 unit. And we have the same problem. I do not have a system, a CRM and a system for raising capital. I do some emails through MailChimp, but it's like, willy-nilly. So when we're done with this close, we're going to invest in a CRM system and I'm going to start a new website and a new company for raising money. And we're going to invest some time and energy into doing that. So that's kind of a good and bad thing, right? Like one, there might be more money out there for people who want to raise money. It's like, you should start asking right now. That's what I'm going to do as soon as this thing closes, all 2021, I'm going to do deals at the end of the year. I'm going to ask for money all year.
Yeah. Always be raising. I think that's a really good point to make, is like always be raising. If you're planning to get into it, that's multifamily or anything. Eventually you're going to need private money. So just tell everybody what you do and have those conversations with people. So that's a great tip.
Yeah. And it's one that these are, the thing about the mistakes that I've made is I knew them. I knew as they hit me, I'm like, I knew that before. Beware of wisdom not earned, right? These are things that I had heard, I didn't apply and I'll never misapply them again because now I learned them on my own.
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing is about raising capital, which is really important. It fits my personality well. I'm a natural salesperson. I take that back. I'm a well-practiced salesperson, but I love people. I'm a natural extrovert. The thing that really appeals to me about raising money is it's infinitely scalable. There is no limit on the amount that you can get. So if you had the opposite problem where you were really good at raising money, then you can go out and find deals to stick people's money in. That's a really good problem to have.
Yeah.
It's a much better problem to have.
Raise money, you can get in almost anything because you can find your own deal. You can find people that have deals and need money. That's a great skill to have, especially now if you can raise a lot of money, if you have that network and you can make those connections with people. And if you're a well-practiced salesperson, you can go out and get some money to bring to these deals. Yep.
Practice. And that's why, you start this podcast, but it's got multiple facets to it. It's like, I'm interviewing people, but also it gives you credibility. People know people know what you're doing. They know you want to buy multifamily. It's got multiple facets to it. And for everybody else, I tell people, one of the first things when I give talks at meetups and whatnot, what I include, no matter what the topic is, everybody needs a website. You need your own website. It's got to have your stupid face on the front of it, and it's got to tell people what you do. So when people come to see, they're like, oh, he's not just some ding dong with a Facebook like everybody. He's got his own. He spent a little bit of time and energy to make a website that says, this is what I'm doing. And it gives you a lot more credibility, especially if it's like mine, where I put a high volume of authentic, transparent, real content.
Yep. Yeah, that's really good. My reason behind the website was that same thing, like get out there, build credibility, give value through the content. And what you put out on your website is great. And like when I made mine, I talked about all my deals, like all the mistakes I made on each one, like looking back at the 22-year-old kid that bought his first property and didn't know anything about a VA loan and figured it out along the way, to now looking at bigger deals and writing about all of that stuff. So yeah, the transparency is awesome. The content gets you out there in front of people, builds credibility and gives people like a little bit of insight into your world, and they know that you're investing. And when you have a deal or you have the opportunity to present to them, they know you because of all this stuff you've done up front with your website, with your content. So that's kind of been like a recurring theme on here, is like building your brand and getting more active on social media, website stuff, ways to get out in front of people, because like one of those facets of multifamily that you're talking about is raising capital. So, I mean, on any multifamily deal you're going to do, you're likely going to raise capital unless you JV on a slightly smaller deal. Yeah.
I still had to raise, even on the JV, I had to raise money, Yeah. Even on the JV, I had to go get the money. I mean,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I mean, it's a joint venture, but it's still finding those people and putting together and basically handling investors still. So yeah, all the parts there. So yeah, looking back to that first deal, like why was that deal so important? Didn't start off great, right? But like what kind of doors has it opened for you now?
There is no better asset class for building wealth than real estate. And in most instances, people don't have the time or energy to invest in it on their own. So how do you build wealth with real estate when you lack the time and energy? Leave that to the Growth View Properties. The Growth View team finds, negotiates, and manages multifamily assets for private investors. Their mission is to help investors secure the ultimate asset, which is time, all the while impacting the greater good with their endowment fund that fuels the mission of charitable organizations. Find out more by going to thegrowthview.com. That's view with a VUE.com. Put your money to work so you don't have to at thegrowthview.com.
Again, it's like that. I don't know that I would say it opened any doors, but I gained confidence because I know some people didn't want to do that deal, and I learned why, right? It didn't have a big upside. And so what you learn about multifamily when you get investors real quick is that it's no longer about you and what you want, because it's not your deal. You are a steward of other people's money, and you need to drive the ship the way your investors want you to.
Yeah.
Now, you may know best, you may be the lead, and you have a say, but it's not your money, bro. So it started to change for me where I was like, okay, this next deal, I don't want to necessarily get a deal that, it doesn't necessarily have to be a deal that I like. How do I say it? I want to do a deal that I like, but I thought more about what my investors wanted. What my investors want is preservation of capital, reliability, right? They want cash on cash return. So other investors might want other things. The single family, it gave me confidence. This 52 unit, bro, I was a steamroller. I was very confident about the deal. The only thing I wasn't sure about is whether or not I could raise the money, but I liked the deal. It's solid. So I wouldn't be able to tackle the bigger deal without having done the 24. So it's one of those things where I look at it and go, it was necessary for my growth. And that's all that really matters to me. I'm 37. I'm going to do this, until I don't feel like it, but I got 60 more years, right? I don't have to do it all today. So 24 unit, now 52, what's going to happen in year 30? Most likely I'll have gone to find something else. I don't want to do real estate at all anymore, but I have a huge upside that I've gotten started now. So the 24 unit, what doors it opened? It opened up the idea of possibility. And more than anything else is, when you believe that you can do something, that's when it happens.
Yeah, I like that. So really it got the ball rolling, built your confidence, and now you're able to do the very next year, do a property that's double the size and feel much better about it, get through the process a lot better, got the right partners in place now, all because of that first deal. So in your honest opinion, do you think that 52 happens without the 24?
You're asking me a time travel paradox question right now.
All right. Yeah. We don't want to load up on this spaceship, but no, I think it's a good point to make. Like, and your insight and what you said on it is so powerful because it's a long game. Like you said, I got 60 more years of this crap. So I think people get in myself too, get caught up all the time. Like I gotta buy the 52 unit right now, right? Or I gotta buy the 100 unit right now. But like start with the 24, start with the 10, like get the ball rolling, like build your confidence, whatever the deal size is that's comfortable enough for you. And this 24 unit was comfortable, but it pushed you and you learned a lot, right? I mean, maybe not comfortable, but it was.
Dude, so many people have done better deals than me. I don't care. So many people will look at this deal and be like, you messed it up, you made all these mistakes, you didn't make that much, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. So many people would have said a lot of things. I don't care. I just don't care. I made a return on investment for my investors. I care about them. And I care about, I can do it now. I grew, I'm better, I have the talent, I can do it. So, and I don't care about units. That's one thing that in our little world, right? Ego is a motherfucker. People be like, I gotta get that 52 unit. No, you don't. I gotta get X amount of units, or so I gotta get 100 units in 5 years. Also, I don't care about units. I don't go on podcasts and say, I have X amount of units. I don't care. What I care is, it's like the old argument, people go, are you a GP or an LP? How much percentage of that do you own? I don't care about that either. Who led the deal? Who did the work? What talent do you have? It's much harder to measure, but I can do deal act. I can go find deals now. I can raise money. I can do most of the underwriting. I will sub it out to my partner because he's better at it than me, and I don't want to do it all. And I can do the deal acquisition. The asset management. I can lead the deal, and I can lead other investors that are smart and capable and have their resources and their strengths. That is worth more than whatever ego says I have to have X amount of units by X amount of years. I don't care. So to your listeners, don't get wrapped. bro, if you have to turn social media off, turn it off. In fact, I got a better advice than turn it off. I never treat social media as a microphone. I don't listen. I treat it like a megaphone. I'm there to talk. I don't want to care. I don't care what anybody else on social media has to say. They're there to hear what I have to say.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point. I'd try to do the same, like be a producer more than a consumer, because it's so easy to get caught in scrolling, right? And just, see everybody's like dog videos or whatever. But if you're going there for a purpose, which is to get out in front of people, like be the producer. That's good.
Well, to add to that, my Facebook is not filled. I unfollow almost everyone. The only people I follow are those who are doing better at life than me in knowledge, real estate, or photography. So my Facebook, when I go there, I'm the smallest fish that has ever been in a pond ever. I just look at like somebody closed a 340 units, somebody closed a 500 unit, somebody closed this $40 million deal, and here I am, 52 units. So that helps my ego in some ways, right? But it hurts in other ways. Point is,
yep. I have that same paradoxical relationship with my whatever it is, Instagram, Facebook, whatever I'm on. But yeah, like be the small fish to like help those other people motivate your growth, right? Hopefully not like push you to say, dang, I suck because I'm not doing that, but like get you there to where they're at because you want to be there and you want to model their success. That's good. Yeah. I think that's a good segue then into how has your content production helped you grow? Just like overall, whether it's deals, investors, network, influence, whatever.
I post a lot on Bigger Pockets. That's where I think the bulk of my users can't come from. And I haven't done that much this year, which I regret. I spent a lot of time producing videos for Bigger Pockets, which helped me in other ways, but probably won't help me in multifamily. The biggest thing that I've done on content that I believe that has helped me is I just tell the honest ass truth. And I talk mostly about vulnerabilities, weaknesses, and mistakes, rather than, here's how I made X amount of dollars, or here's how I got from, I don't do it like I went from 0 to 50 units in 4 years. Here's how you can do it. No, I'm like, look, I did this thing. It seems impressive, but let me tell you why I'm a fuck up. And I don't care what people think. In fact, I care more about relatability. And so when people go, okay, Alex, he's a mortal, regular ass human who happened to do this. I'm a regular mortal human. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can do it with them. Maybe we can do it together. So we talked about this from the very start, my authenticity. I shine because I just don't lie on social media and content like everybody else. I think almost everybody in this business or on the internet is a liar, or they're lying to themselves so bad they don't realize they're lying to everybody else. I just don't do it. I just don't participate in deception or self-deception.
Yeah. I see the same, and I've tried like my hardest to just be authentic and be relatable, because I think the most important thing is if somebody reads your content, watches your video, whatever, sees your website, and they feel like they can relate to you because you're being real and being yourself rather than being what others in the industry like are, or what, fitting that image in the industry, but you're just you, right? Like unapologetically you. I think that goes a lot further. So that's like every time I'm writing something, I'm like, man, is this going to make me sound like a douchebag? If not, just don't put that thing out or change the wording or whatever. Cause sometimes I'd, reach financial freedom in the first year or whatever, or something like that. But it's like trying to give it from the point of view. It's like, it's doable. I made a lot of mistakes and still got there. So here's some lessons I learned along the way to try to help.
Yeah. Also part of it, I don't do marketing. Like I'm telling my story. You know who's good on this is Gary Vee. He's like, don't sell shit, just document.
Yep.
So my website, like my email list, I send out a couple of emails a year when I have something that I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like here it is, but I don't do, there's no revenue from my website. There's no funnel for a course. There's no coaching program. I'm not marketing. Marketing is bad manners, in my opinion. So when people come to my website, they're like, this guy is not asking for anything. Is there a catch? No, there's no catch. There's no catch. You can go to the website. There's no way I make money on it at all whatsoever. And I'm very transparent about how I do what I do. And a lot of people make money on my website or for my information, and they text me or they email me and they're like, dude, you were so helpful. Now I'm making money, and I hired this other person over here, and my competitors or the people in my town that I don't like, they're making money, and everybody's making money without me, and I don't care. Because I'm not doing marketing. And so when people, then they're like, well, Alex is the real deal. Because there's nothing on the other end, right? If you're like, oh, I write so authentically, but I am trying to make money on you, Well, now you're lying. You're lying. So for me, that's worked very well. I don't ask people for any money. I don't market. I just tell what I'm doing. I ask people genuinely to come along with me.
Yeah, that's super good, dude. And I, like, back to the beginning when I was saying like why I chose to model kind of how you had your website set up was because when you go there, it's different, right? There's no product pitch. There's no like hook, line, and sinker on there. It's just kind of sharing and, like you're saying, documenting, not selling. And that's the route I wanted to go, because I don't like that feeling of being sold, like going to a website and like can't get out of like clickbait and stuff like that. So I was just like, how to make this authentic as possible and just give value rather than try to get stuff from other people. So I love that. Don't sell shit, just document.
Blake, you can't beat me, bro. You can't beat me.
Hey, I'm just saying it was an inspiration, right? Hey, if I could have like a strand of your hair or something and try to put that in potion. No, man, seriously, I think it sticks out. Like you were saying, there's a lot of people that, especially in the multifamily business, that are like marketers more so than investors. And I see that all the time. Like syndication is, honestly, the more you study the industry, it's like a big freaking click funnel. It's like how to get the most people on your page to convert them to investors and stuff like that. And I'm much more try to take a authentic relationship route. I don't know how scalable that is. And I've been like messing with different things, but yeah.
Well, I do want to funnel people to my website to, in the future, I'm going to start funneling people to be investors in my future deals. But there's an important distinction between some of the things that I think people shy away from being sold and what I'm trying to do and what I think maybe this will help. I never make money on people. I only make money with people. So you want to invest in a deal with me? I have money in it, guaranteed. Right? There's no way I'm going to make money and you don't. And there's no way that you're going to lose money and I don't. That's skin in the game. So I will do more I will create more of a funnel this year, but it will be still my style. There's nothing to sell. And so if I can go on a little rant here, in the old days, you had snail mail, and then it got overloaded with circulars. Bam, bullshit. And then you're like, God, I got one letter that I care about and a bunch of nonsense. It's hard to filter that out. So people just do it mentally. Like, and then you got email. And then it was like, oh, my grandma sent me a cat picture. This is amazing. And then like next thing you know, it's like all spam nonsense. And then we got filters. Filters are really interesting because they're getting pretty good, kinda, for the most part. And they filtered out all the stuff that it knows you don't want. I believe the second wave of media, of content filtering is coming over the next few years through social media. And what it's going to do is it's going to find people who do stuff that are authentic, and it's going to know, and it's going to put that in your feed. And the people who are just doing shallow marketing, it's going to filter them out. Because the AI is going to get really good, and it's going to find out who's just selling some nonsense.
Yeah.
And
I would love to see that take form.
I believe it's coming. I believe it's coming now, right? You see it. It's just harder to fake authenticity. It's just harder to fake real humanity. You see it now with Forex, Bitcoin, spammers. It's like you can pick them out right away. Well, the AI is going to be able to pick them out here. I'm sure they pick out most of them. And we never even see it on the back end.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's coming, right? It's coming where it's like, hey, look, now we've had social media for a while. It's like, don't add me unless you've had an account for 6 years, that kind of stuff. And so I think that the day when you say I want to do it authentic, I think that's a good, my opinion. I'm not having any research really to back this up, and empirical, evidence or understanding the world. I think, I hate to use the term, I've been using it all damn show, authentic. I think people who don't have an ulterior motive will do very well on the internet going forward.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. In your opinion, how do you like in such a competitive marketplace, like, private equity and syndication, all that, these people that have these huge platforms and are marketing and are everywhere and spending a bunch of money in marketing dollars to get people in to fill their funnel. How do you beat that with authenticity, or at least compete with it?
I don't. I'm getting my ass kicked left and right.
Okay.
No, bro, like, okay, so you're like, how does this big company with all these resources and a bunch of people that are geared just towards marketing do better at me than marketing, somebody who just admitted I don't do it. Of course they beat me, but I'm going to get bigger. I'm going to get better. And I don't need to be the biggest or the best. You know what I mean? Again, where it's one of those things where I'm going to get a little bit bigger every year. So next year I'd like to do 120 units. I'm going to probably try to buy something for 5 million. I'm going to 10 million. I'd like to I'll probably try to find a deal where I have to raise $3 million in cash. Like, that's how big I need to be. And then the next one will be a $10 million raise. Do you see what I'm saying? And so I will adapt and as the demand needs, but in terms of like being a big marketing machine right now, can't beat that. I can't do it. And if I had the money to hire a marketing team, I would, and I just won't sell my soul to do it. I don't care. I just don't care.
Yeah. I asked the question because that's like the question I ask myself too, is how do I stand out by not being a salesman, but an investor first? Because I mean, I see it all the time. I feel like people in multifamily, a lot of them, not all of them, definitely not all of them, but it becomes a lot of sales tactics rather than like the focus on investing, and returns go down because they can just fill it with a bunch of investors.
Yeah. I mean, well, okay. So here's another thing, right? You have to, like, the macroeconomic cycle weeds people out. So like right now, real estate is mega popular because interest rates are low and it's easy. And so everybody's winning, right? Do you remember in 2012 how people were talking about the economy? They were miserable. You couldn't go to somebody and be like, we're winning. They're like, the economy sucks, jobs are down, unemployment's up, the stock market's in the tank, real estate's a wreck, nobody's lending, liquidity is dead, right? There was a miserable time. And now everyone's like, how do you win faster? Like, I don't even know how I could win faster, right? So when this mayhem, this mania that we're in right now, when this slows, stops, or crashes, which is, in my opinion, about 4 years ago is when it should have happened. We're in dangerous territory now. I agree. When this all stops, those who are doing, like, we'll find out which emperors have no clothes, right? And so a lot of the people you're like, oh, they're just doing these marketing things. It's like, dude, if they're not making that much, or it's all a facade, or they're running only on momentum, when the money stops, they'll go away. And the people who are have good financials and a good process, right, and can instill market people's confidence, will grow.
Yep, I like that. And just as like a broad overview, it's a much like the strategy we're talking about, like going against the grain, right? Going like being the contrarian, multifamily investor is much more digestible, I think, right? It's like knocking down the next domino. It's much more digestible when you think about it like that. Like, do one deal, like you're saying, this year is a 52 unit, next year is a 100 unit, 120 unit, whatever it is. And then you keep
people, they see Grant Cardone and they're like, I got to get 6,000 units. And it's like, bro, go get a 10 unit first. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I got a buddy, he, very nice guy. He's working hard. He's trying to get his first multifamily and he's farther away than he thinks, which is fine. And he's just, he's like grinding up, but his ego's in the way. He's like, well, I just really want to get 100 units my first unit. And I'm like, that's so arbitrary. Why? What if a 90 unit comes along?
Yeah.
What if a 75 unit comes along? It's a sick deal. What if a 30 unit comes along and you can get it? You know what I'm saying? So it's just, everybody has different resources. So you obviously have to take into account what you have. But people look at Grant Cardone and like, I want to be Grant Cardone. It's like, okay, but Grant Cardone started with a 16 unit. Yeah. So
puts things in perspective. Yep.
He's been doing it for 20 years. Like, when are you think about starting your 20 years before you think about getting to 20 years? Does that make sense? Like, what you're going to be like at 20 years, like, do the first one, bro. I don't know why I know why. Their egos run rampant there. And it's way easier to daydream than it is to do.
Yeah. Man, this is good stuff. I'm going to have to go back and listen to this. Like, I'm going to have to get this recording, put it on a rewind, because there's a lot of good stuff in here, whether it's from content production, how to be, just go about multifamily a little bit different and against the grain of everybody saying you can get 100 units your first deal, your first week of being an investor.
maybe, yeah, though, like, you can do it with no money. It's like, maybe you can, right? But like, think about it. The market's up. Rates are down. All like competition is hot. Nobody's sitting on 100 units that's dilapidating. I shouldn't say that nobody, but it's rare. It's much rarer that somebody's just sitting on this one of the things and has no idea that it's got some money. It's worth something. If they're sitting on it by now, somebody's told them, I'll buy it.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So like this whole thing where you're going to be like find some diamond in the rough, like maybe, but are you going to find a diamond in the rough every time? Like just go get deals, bro. Go make money. My deal I'm doing right now is an 8% preferred return. I think we'll probably end up hitting 10. That is a solid return for a passive investor. Now, my single family people are like, well, I made an infinite cash on cash return. It's like, yeah, maybe. Okay, but you got like one loan and you got $200 in cash flow and
yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's a lot smaller, and you're doing all the work yourself, right? Just like all of our birds, like those are,
and you can only get 10.
It's a lot more than a passive investor would do, that's for sure. But
and it's a lot more work, and you can only get 10 Fannie Mae mortgages, so it doesn't scale. So it's like, oh, the returns are higher. It's like, right, the returns are higher for a lot more work and a cap. Like you can't do it forever. So, and it only works when you can get the Fannie Mae debt, and it only works when you can buy the distressed asset and put and get all your money out. So, what's the real return on investment? What would the return on investment be without the debt?
Yeah.
Then people start finding out, they're like, oh, I'm making 12%. Right. Come get my 10% and do nothing. And then actually on the sale, we're projecting a 15% average cash on cash after we sell. So, dude.
That's really good. Yeah. When you put in that perspective, Alex is dropping some truth and just a good perspective on the difference here. So I love it, man. We're kind of getting here towards the end. So let's make a transition in the Fortune 5. These are the questions at the end that I ask every guest. Every week, every go, flex it out with Fortune 5. So first question, what's the biggest thing so far that's contributed to your success?
Reading difficult, complicated books that none of your peers are willing to read.
I like that.
No self-help.
We'll get to this, but like what kind of books? What topics? What are you reading?
Macroeconomics mostly.
Macroeconomics. Okay. Like Ray Dalio.
Ray Dalio wrote 2 books. One of them is called Principles, very famous book. One of them is called The Big Debt Crisis, which is his far better book, and far less people have read it.
Yep, I have that one on my list.
Nassim Taleb wrote 5 books called Inserto. I highly recommend. They're difficult. They'll change your life. None of your peer investors have read them because they can't. Because they're difficult and they're important.
Okay. Gotcha. We'll put those in the show notes as well if you guys want to check those out. Moving on, next question, the Fortune 5. What's been your biggest mistake so far? I know we'd get here and there's probably a lot that we could talk about, but what's the biggest one so far that's turned into a learning lesson for you?
I didn't start investing till I was 31. So first I wasted too much time. Then I beat myself up for going too slow. I think mindset, like just being okay with going at my pace, not needing to compete with somebody else, like my ego.
Yep. Have you read Ego is the Enemy?
I have, yeah. Ryan Holiday is a good storyteller. He's well read. Mm-hmm. Pretty good book.
Yep, good deal.
Self-help.
That one in there. So talking about books, what's your favorite book that you'd recommend for somebody starting out?
The 2 really, I can't do one. The 2 really easy ones that everybody should read. I don't know what level of investing your people are at. Rich Dad Poor Dad and The Richest Man in Babylon are very simple financial education books. They're very simple. Everybody can understand them. They're cheap. They're old. They take a day or 2 to read both of them. Knock those out. One of the books that I recommend that's difficult, Nassim, Fooled by Randomness. He wrote a really good book. Well, the first one in the series, Fooled by Randomness. That's a really good book to understand. It's economics and philosophy, kind of understanding how the mechanics of making money really works.
Fooled by Randomness. I'm putting that on my list right there.
Fooled by Randomness.
Oh man. All right. So outside of real estate, buying multifamily properties, doing birds and all that, what do you like to do outside of real estate?
I've been lifting weights, powerlifting for my whole life. That's very healthy. Health is wealth. Physical health is mental health, that kind of thing. Everybody should do it. Really important. Second is photography. Yeah, I do a lot of that. I got one for you. You're going to like this little nugget. A few years ago, somebody told me, if you want life to be easy and be happy, you only need to do these 3 things in life. You only need these 3 things. Find a hobby that makes you money, real estate. Find a hobby that keeps you in shape, the gym. Find a hobby that keeps you creative. I didn't have the third. I was like, I'm gonna go get this camera, see if I can do something with this. Now, I would do photography and quit real estate if it paid as much.
I like that. So a hobby that makes you money, one that gives you wellness, and then one that gives you creativity. I like that. That's good stuff. Awesome, man. So last question, the Fortune 5 here. Where can people find out more about you and connect with you?
Brokeisachoice.com. 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 You can find
we'll put that in the show notes too.
Yeah, I know. I just like to say it like that. Bigger Pockets, you can find me on their YouTube or on the website. Facebook. I tell everybody to add me to Facebook. I'm thinking next year I'm going to make this with Twitter. Instagram is Alex.Felice. I mean, you're going to put the show notes. If people want to find me, I'm easy to get a hold of, bro. I don't do.
There we go. I think just on a little recap, my favorite thing you said was don't make money from people, make money with people. Love that, man. Completely different approach. I think if more people had that mindset, the world and real estate would be a little bit better place, a little bit less greedy, more people doing deals together and sharing the wealth. So that was good stuff. But overall, man, a lot of good content. This is one I'm going to have to go back and listen to on my way to work or something. Good stuff. Thanks for coming on the show tonight. This was awesome. And looking forward to more Facebook rants on the next one.
I do rant on Facebook. Thank you, dude. This was fun. I'm grateful. I'm so glad to see that what you've done. And I love to hear your attitude about it is good. And I think you're gonna do very well. So I wish you luck. Keep, when you get some wins, make sure I notice so I can because I want you to do really well. So when you get big, I can ride your footsteps.
Yeah, people go back and let's do it. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for saying that. And yeah, that's it. We're getting out of here.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you like the show, if you found value in it, please go to iTunes and leave a rating and review. And if you want to check out more on your multifamily journey, go to multifamilyjourney.com where you can get free resources to start your journey and figure out your path. That's multifamilyjourney.com. But more importantly, go take action today towards your financial future. See you next time.